Nigeria's ranking, quote unquote, improved. I think in the last report, we were number 6. In this report, we were number 8. Now, when this administration came in 2015, we were number 3. And now we are at number 8. So those are very positive developments. And thirdly, where we're seeing a reduction in incidents in the northeast, we're seeing an increase in other locations, including in the southeast, where separatist groups such as the Indigenous People of Biafra featured prominently as part of the 10 most deadliest groups in terrorist groups in the world. Other groups are the bandit groups in the northwest of the country. So what this is telling us is that terrorism is like a living item, and that living item has different facets, and if you don't block it, then you would have increasingly challenges within the environment.
The 2023 Global Terrorism Index has ranked the Indigenous People of Biafra as the 10th deadliest terror group as the impact of terrorism continues to decline in Nigeria. Despite the new IPOB ranking, Nigeria is ranked 8th with 385 deaths, making progress as it moves 2 countries away from its 2022 rankings. In 2022, the number of deaths that occurred as a result of terrorism was 385, a fall of 23% from the previous year. In the Global Terrorism Index, published by the Institute of Economic Peace, IPOB is ranked the 10th deadliest terror group with 40 attacks and 57 deaths in 2022. IPOB is a separate terrorist group that was proscribed and declared a terrorist organization by the federal government in 2017. In a tweet, the lawyer of the leader of IPOB, Aloy Ejimako, said the report by the Global Terror Index that IPOB was the 10th deadliest terror group was false. He explained that IPOB was only named in the index report because the Nigerian government had declared the group a terrorist organization. It's false that IPOB is now ranked the 10th deadliest terrorist group in the world by the Global Terror Index. IPOB was only mentioned as having been declared a terrorist group in Nigeria. IPOB is registered. Terrorist groups can't be registered. If you try, you'll be arrested. Meanwhile, some unknown gunmen disguised as Biafra separatists have kidnapped, killed, or robbed citizens. The spokesperson of the proscribed group, Ima Powerful, has said IPOB is not responsible for the killings and attacks in the southeast. However, Simon Ekpa, a self-acclaimed discipline of the detained leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, had repeatedly ordered the people of the southeast to observe a sit-at-home and asked them to boycott the general election billed for Saturday. His repeated sit-at-home orders, broadcast via social media, are believed to be responsible for the numerous bloodshed and destruction of lives and property in the region by its enforcers. In an exclusive interview with a security expert, Kabiru Adamu stated the recent administration's progress in security and added that crime-related activities recorded recently are a precursor to the nation's general election. He also said that insecurity in the country will deteriorate to a commendable level if the current administration and the incoming government can be sustained.
When this government came into power, let me start with 2014. In 2014, I think the fatality figure in Nigeria was 13,000. 13,000 Nigerians died in 2014. Now, when the Buhari administration came into power in 2015, it hovered around 6,000, then went to 7,000, and then between that year, 2016, up until, let's say, 2021, it hovered 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. Last year, it increased to 2011. Now, part of the reason why we saw that increase is politics, rightly, because in the pre-election year, a lot of the security challenges increased. And so, of course, the fatality figures also increased. Like I said, 11,000 persons died in that year. So, a little bit difficult. I know the Global Terrorism Index have shown an increase, but remember, it is only recording terrorism, and terrorism is just one of the security challenges that feeds into our fatality figure for the year. In 2023, in the first month of the year, we've seen a reduction. In this month, last month rather, we've also seen a reduction. So if that is sustained, both by this government and the incoming administration, then we're likely to look at the year, at the end of this year, and see, well, maybe 5,000 or even less than that 5,000, which is an improvement.
He advises that
counter-terrorism campaign, which is focused on the Northeast, should not just remain in the Northeast, it should be expanded into other locations, not just in the Northeast. I know a lot of the counter-terrorism operation we're doing at the moment is focused on the northeast. The other operations we're doing are not necessarily counter-terrorism operations in those locations. So our national counter-terrorism strategy should look beyond the northeast. It should be holistic, including groups like IPOB. If the approach, the current approach we're using, is it appropriate for counter-terrorism operations? I think this is, for me, what is crucial and important, so that we look back and say, look, we've been able to address this before we have another northeast situation in our hands.
When it comes to insecurity, no region is exempt. While the southeastern region is engulfed with separatists who find pleasure in crippling businesses by the sit-at-home order, the northwestern region is enmeshed with crime and terror, varying from kidnapping, banditry, cattle rustling, and assassin abduction, amongst others. Several people have been displaced, while others are still held captive in their homes by the terror group. Notably, 2022 was an eventful year in the history of the nation. On March 28, terrorists ambushed and attacked a passenger train en route from Abuja to Kaduna. Some passengers were killed and scores were abducted. It took the federal government about 6 months of negotiations and an unconfirmed ransom payment before the last batch of 23 captives from the train were released in October. In September, while the negotiation was ongoing on the kidnapped passengers, Kuje Correctional Facilities in Abuja, the country's federal capital territory, was attacked as over 600 inmates found their way out of the prison. On June 5, more than 30 people were murdered in another terrorist attack in a church in Owo, Ondo State.